You are listening to the Built to Grow podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. My name is Randy Angston, and I'm going to be your host for today. I had an agenda for today's podcast, but as I continue to think about kind of where we are, with Tim on I guess vacation, if you may, just stepping back for a few weeks, kind of realigning and resetting, something really dawned on me as entrepreneurs, as coaches, with the ability to work with so many different business owners over the last 5 or 6 years, there is an underlying thread, belief, characteristic maybe of entrepreneurs that I kind of just wanted to speak to for a few minutes today. And that is our ability to kind of drive ourselves into a hole. Not saying that, having a strong work ethic is a problem, but I definitely feel like it does have a tipping point where it can become overwhelming, where it can become a problem, if you may. It's almost a dual-edged sword. And the way that I wanted to kind of articulate that today is I wanted us to get back to remembering our why. We hear it a lot, obviously, being coaches ourselves, teaching, we have to work with our clients and have them understand why they're putting in the work. Why are they working so hard for this end result? And more often than not, it's not just physical change. Our clients in the gym are looking for things like more confidence, less pain, the ability to just, feel good on a day-to-day basis. And all of those things are emotional responses to something that's extremely physical. But ultimately, the driving force and the motivation behind doing the work has to have some sort of validation behind it. We have to have a reason to keep us going day to day when the fun fades and when it feels like you're in the suck. And so just for the next few minutes, I kind of want to bring up a couple of different things that we can focus on, ideally in a day-to-day basis, that will help us recharge so that we don't necessarily have to find ourselves in a position to really want to pull away, but more so kind of riding the wave. Tim and I have talked about the work-life balance aspect in the past, and I brought up the idea that a coach taught me years ago, and it was work-life synergy. I am a big believer that work in life should not be opposing forces like that of balance, right? A positive and a negative, pushing back at each other, trying to fight for equal representation, but rather work-life synergy, where both can coexist for a common cause, for the common good, synergistically, right? So they're not opposing each other. They're actually complementing each other. They're working together for one common goal and for the common good. Something, when we get to remembering our why, more often than not, we're in business to help. I mean, with this industry, right? We're in business to help other people. We are passionate about fitness. We want to share that passion with other people. But at the end of the day, that has its limitations as well. Is that enough to keep you going? I personally believe that the accumulation of wealth is not a bad thing. As a business owner, you should feel the same way. Not only are we able to touch the lives of those people that we're serving, but at the end of the day, the exchange of value that's taking place in order to serve that client, what do we get? We get money. We get, that monetary return. That is a beautiful thing. Every single exchange in this life, there's an exchange that takes place. Every single, anytime something is gained, something must be lost or something must be sacrificed in order for that gain to take place, whether or not we realize it or not. And so, so often I find business owners that have resistance or a pushback around the accumulation of wealth, but money is just a tool. And getting back to kind of your why, that tool can be used to create for you the life that you desire. What does that look like? Do you want to be in your gym 40, 50, 60 hours a week every week? If that's the case, absolutely nothing wrong with that. But for most of us, that is not the end goal. We want to be able to take what we do in our businesses and we want to turn around and create that lifestyle that we want for ourselves, whether it be a certain house, whether, I don't have any problem if that's a certain car or vehicle or something like that. as long as it doesn't become, your driving force shouldn't be rooted in something, like a vehicle or something like that, in my opinion. But ultimately, you need to have something other than just showing up for work to do the job for when it doesn't feel like fun anymore, for the days where it's difficult and when your clients aren't in a good mood and that's pulling over. At what point, what is going to keep you going when, again, the fun fades? That's your why. So first off, my challenge for you is to spend some time this weekend. Go, sit down for a half hour, figure out, realign with your reason for being in business. If you can't clearly come up with your reason for owning a business, there is I'd say, the end is near type of mentality. You're not going to be able to sustain when you are faced with that adversity. This year has been a very good glimpse into the strength that some business owners have, the resilience in their willingness to show up and do the work. Our governments are fighting us. The media can be fighting us. We're getting almost attacked in all of these different directions. And if you're not really clear on why you show up for work on a daily basis, what's the point? And so with that being said, the accumulation of wealth, right? The money that you're receiving. Tam and I are big believers that you as the business owner need a portion of that for yourselves. That's the intention behind owning a business, running a business, and creating a service or a product for the marketplace. How do we do that? How can we do that on a daily basis without feeling like we need some massive time off, or without feeling like we're burnt out or like we don't have our creative juices? One of the most powerful emotions that we possess is gratitude. I build gratitude into my daily routine. Every morning, again, I'm human, it's not perfect, but in an ideal situation, my mornings consist of 4 different aspects. I always, I read, I journal, those 2, I meditate, and I go to the gym. Those 4 aspects is what I've found that keep me in the greatest alignment, feeling good, feeling the desire, feeling the push and the ability to show up for work and be the best version of myself on a daily basis. Gratitude is an extremely powerful emotion. Somebody, one of my coaches once told me that you can't actually be in a place of gratitude and have a negative mindset. If you can consciously think about something you're grateful for and apply the emotion, use the emotion almost like a tool, you should be able to close your eyes, get emotional over the things that you experience or the things that you want to express gratitude in your life. You should feel that. If you can practice this on a daily basis, again, it's going to make you a hell of a lot more resilient when the fun isn't there, and when you're having those bad days, or maybe, you're faced with a few cancellations, or, maybe you're in a dry spell when it comes to sales. All of these things happen, but putting these things into place to help us prevent us from falling off that edge or getting burnt out or really just running out of those juices, it's imperative. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself really, at a hard edge. Another thing that I'm a big believer in is celebrating the wins daily. So there's a lot of great coaches out there. I know I'm a big fan of Andy Frisella from First Form. He was a host of the MF CEO podcast. Now he's got another podcast called Real AF. And he always talks about celebrating the wins at the end of the day. I kind of go both ways. Personally, I like to console the losses, just address them and move on, let that emotion fade, and understand that not every time is going to be a home run, but when you can address that, move on to the positive aspects of your day, you shift yourself back into that positive mindset, and you can celebrate those victories. Every single day we have things that we should be grateful for. Every single day we should have things we just don't always realize it. We have things in our day that we can celebrate as a win. Sometimes it's not the biggest of tasks or the craziest, we're not selling annual memberships on a daily basis maybe, but that's okay. It's about keeping yourself in the right frame of mind, keeping yourself in a positive attitude, so that ultimately the quality of life for you is everything that you desire. And one last thing that I want to mention is it is okay to force separation. Guys, we've coached so many different business owners when it comes to the systems in their business. And over the last few years, as we've continued to speak to more and more gym owners, all the time, I find gym owners that they haven't taken a day off in years. They haven't taken a vacation with their family, or, it's hard enough to make it to the end of the week, getting home before dark, or having dinner with your family or your kids, or kissing your kids goodnight. All of these are the reasons that we do what we do. So if you find yourself in those situations and you can't break that cycle, that's where I would recommend reaching out. That is something that we want to help you with. That is what we are passionate about. And that's something that we can do through our coaching program. But regardless, forcing separation in your business. What I mean by that is, you're a business owner. If you don't have the systems in place to allow you to take a day off, that's exactly what you need to do this week. That is your challenge. Above anything else, work on those systems, figure out the staffing structure, figure out your org chart, who should be, doing what roles, handling what tasks in your absence, and then execute it. For Tim said, you know what? It's been a hell of a year. He's accomplished some big things. For him, he wanted to take a couple of weeks and go up with his family up north here in Arizona. That's a beautiful thing. And he's put himself in a position where he can do that. Why? Because he's broken it down and he's figured out what it's going to take to do that. But if you don't necessarily need to take a month off of business. You don't necessarily need to take weeks off. If you can take a day off, if you could take a few days off, maybe it's a weekend that you can go away with your family. I am a big believer that when you can, you should force some separation. This is something, this episode or this podcast was as much for me as it is for you. I am, I'm hell bent on growth. I love pushing the envelope, and I'm obsessed with what we do. I eat, sleep, and breathe this. And so much like you and your business on the day-to-day basis, we become overwhelmed or just consumed with our work. And I am not one that takes time off typically, or goes away on a vacation, even for a weekend. I don't typically work weekends. There's no reason that I can't, but I don't force that for myself. And so, as I was coming up, as this kind of dawned on me today, I wanted to make sure that you guys know that as business owners, you should have these things in place. You should build out ways of making sure that your mental health is there, that that why you're showing up for work every day, that you can do it with a genuine, authentic smile on your face. Ultimately, that's what it's all about. And so I wanted you guys to take a second or give yourself a break today is really what it comes down to. Get back to the why. Get back to the reason that you're in business. Fall in love with what you do on a daily basis, because it's not always about the next marketing tactic. It's not always about the next opportunity in business. I'm never going to turn away those opportunities, but at the same time, it needs to be cohesive with the other areas of life and the reasons that we show up and we serve our clients every single day. So that's my recommendation for you. Probably more so than anything else is to try and build some of these things into your day-to-day routine. Find time in your day. Force time in your day, create time in your day, force it on your calendar, make it part of your morning routine. The gratitude aspect, make your evenings, make time in your evenings for celebrating the victories. And when you can do these things consistently, that's when you're going to find yourself in alignment. That's when you're going to find opportunities opening up for you. You're going to be in a much better mental state, and who doesn't like a happy person? So at the end of the day, guys, I'm challenging you. I hope that you can take this, you can implement this for yourselves, and then turn around and maybe challenge your team. There's going to be a trickle-down effect with this. And as coaches ourselves, we continue to coach, and we love to coach. So turn around, share that with some of the people that you care about in your life. Maybe it's your staff, maybe it's your family, maybe it's a friend. But, a good buddy of mine used to always say, ripples make waves. And it doesn't take a ton. It's not always about the grand slam victory. We talked about it on a couple episodes ago about the business aspect, but your quality of life, your personal life, your happiness, it's no different. So put yourself back in the driver's seat, take control of what's happening between your ears, and ultimately continue to serve. And I promise, we're going to have some fun doing it. So take that. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Spend some time getting into this, and then we'll see you on Tuesday.